Hey everybody, good morning. Today is Monday, November 28th. We're going to be in Rock Transformations lesson 1.3 today. And for those of you who are absent, I am just going to kind of go through and summarize what we talked about today. And if you get the chance, there's a couple things I'm going to have you do so that you're ready to come back when you are able to. All right, so the first thing is you're going to log on to Rock Transformations 1.3 and do the first part of the warm up. It's just where you're going to grab these three labels and label. Okay. I had the kids in class stop after question one, but go ahead and let's move on to question two for you. This is just really an overview, just a reminder what a cross section looks like and the difference between a map view and a cross section view, because we're going to be working in the sim today. And just like with the plate motion in this sim, you're going to see a map view of a model of the planet, I guess. So you'll see a map view on top and a cross section view on the side. So what you did in the first part of the warm up activity is just move those labels to identify the land, the ocean, and mountains in the map view. And in the cross section view, we've got a third thing, and that's the mantle, or I'm sorry, a fourth label, and that's the mantle. And so the kids and I just kind of talked real quickly about the difference between a map view and a cross section view and what things you can see in a cross section view that you can't see in the map view. And obviously, it's the bottom mantle. Anything below Earth's outer layer, we can't see unless we've got a cross section. So that's the point of the cross section. Let me go through activity number two. Activity number two, this is our investigation today. How do rocks form? And so the kids, I gave them a little bit of an opportunity to jump on the simulation and just kind of play around a little bit like we do when we first get to see a brand new simulation. And so I would ask you to go ahead when you can and log on to activity number two. Screen number one, you're going to see a blue link to your simulation, and just mess around a little bit and see what you can do. What do you expect to see when you think when rocks are forming? What do you think would happen? And then when you actually get in there, just notice what changes in the sim. And if you have any additional questions about what's going on. So if you are able to, go ahead and pause the video right now, jump on and do the warm-up activity and hand that in. And then go ahead and go into the rock transformation simulation, mess around with that for a minute, and then come on back to the video. If you are unable to do that, just continue to watch this, and then I would just ask you to do those other things when you are able. Okay, so when we came back, I asked the kids, what their initial ideas about how rocks form, and specifically, um, I wanted to ask them about what kinds of buttons they were able to push, what were some things that they could do. I had one of the students project their screen up on the board, and we kind of just went through that together. Once you figure out what you can do in the sim, then I want you to go back and you're going to look at the top part of my screen. In activity two, screen number two, you're going to return back to the sim with a mission. And that's to make as many rocks in as many different ways as you can. And you can use the menu on the right to try to form the rocks. One thing then you'll want to do is press Analyze Rocks to learn more about the rocks that you create or rocks that are already there at the start. And then make sure also that you stay in the process mode. In chapter 2, we're going to change to the energy mode. I don't want you to do that yet. Stay in the process mode. Okay, so go ahead and make as many rocks as you can and then analyze them to learn more about how they were formed and what they were made from. And then come on back. Again, if you're unable to do that right now, you're going to work through that and then turn that in at a different time. All right. Lastly, I had somebody volunteer to project on the screen. And then while that person was projecting, I asked these questions. I asked what were the different rock materials found in the sim. And you'll notice that you've got sediment and you've got magma. Depending on where the magma is, if it's below the surface of the earth, that's magma. Once it comes to the surface of the earth, then that becomes lava. I asked what processes they used to form the rock, and the processes were melting and adding sediment. And then I asked what they learned about what magma and sediment are. Specifically, I asked what the definition was. So the kids were looking at their sims while we talked about the definition of magma, which is hot liquid rock below the surface of Earth. And then sediment are small pieces of rock. These are things that we've talked about before, so these words are just kind of review. And then lastly, I asked the kids to jump on activity 3, screen number 2, and this was their homework for today. So again, I'm going to ask you to do this when you're able to. Just reflect on what you've learned in this lesson, and the reflection should always show your best independent thinking. So after you have done the warm-up activity and you've gone through and done the activities for number 2 with the sim, then I want you to go on to activity number 3, screen number 2, answer the questions on this lesson, and then please make sure that you hand this in because I'm going to count this as homework assignment. Okay? If you have any questions, let me know. And then hopefully I will see you on Tuesday.